In that moment, I realized I could either act now and go to Thrive School, or I could wait a year, but I had no idea what could change in a year. In 2016, it was July of 2016, I heard about and then decided to go to Thrive School, which is a 1 or 2 year internship program in Northern California. And I made this choice because I really wanted to do two things. I wanted to find out, did I want to work in ministry full time? And I knew that I wanted to become a better drummer. And so these two things, those were the questions that I went to Thrive asking myself. And I also made this choice because it was a financial one. I went, okay, I can either spend $6,000 per semester to go to CSUN in Southern California, or I can spend $6,000 at the time, that was the tuition, to go to Thrive School for 9 months. And I went, wait, same money, 9 months versus 3 months or 4 months for college? I'm going to do that. So I made that decision, chose to go there, and at the time I had saved about $4,000 from working at a couple different grocery stores and just different things, moving, Arvon. There were a multitude of different things that I was doing at that time. And when I first came to Thrive, during that first year, they had asked me to not share about Arvon, which is a network marketing company. And so I decided to honor that, and I didn't do that. And it felt kind of odd because I knew I needed to make money to be able to pay for the first year of Thrive, but that wasn't really an option. During that year, we weren't allowed to have a full-time or part-time job, so I was kind of scratching my head going, okay, how do I do this? Like, this isn't something that my parents are going to write a check for. And I was just kind of battling internally going, what other options do I have available to me? And so one of the things that I did do is I was able to start doing yard work at least once every other week on Mondays or Fridays, which were our days off. And then I was also just really good at saying yes to those things and being a hard worker. And so I was able to actually do yard work here, where I actually rent now with Jeannie and Ruben Rodriguez. And that was the beginning of finding ways to make money to be able to afford Thrive. So then the next option, or the next thing that was made available to me, was this support raising workshop. And Shannon Jones was the one who helped in putting this together. And basically, I went home to Christmas in 2016 and went, okay, like, I need to take this seriously, because for the first time in my life, I'm kind of feeling the pressure of potentially being in debt for the first time in my life. And I absolutely hated that idea and went, what do I need to do to make sure this doesn't happen? And so I started support raising. And what was kind of the shift that happened in me was kind of awareness. And one of those things was that within just a 40-mile radius of where Bayside Granite Bay was, there were almost 200, almost 250,000 young people from 12 to 18. And all it took for both my first year and my second year to be fully funded was to have 31 people support on a monthly basis from $1 to $31 per month. So you have someone do 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 31, and you're good. And when I heard that, the combination of the need and the relative ease to being able to do that, I went, oh, this is possible. And so I went home, and the biggest conflict that I really had in this entire process was my own self-talk, my own thought process. Because I'm someone who, for most of my life, I started working when I was 16, and so it just felt like so incongruent to then go and ask people for money when I felt that I was capable of going and doing something to create value and to have that money instead. And what shifted in me was that I realized, man, I'm actually giving people an opportunity to partner with me because I'm investing this time in these young adults, into myself, into this area. Now, what I'm looking for is people to work with me, to invest the resources for me to be able to do this effectively. And what kind of happened was really incredible. It was so different from other people's stories, because I started, once I knew that was the way to go, I started averaging about 4 to 5 people I would share my story with on a weekly basis. And during the beginning of 2017, from January to when would that have been? November of the next year. But even just in the first couple months, I practiced and I worked at being able to know what I wanted to share and being able to do it concisely within 10 minutes. And so because of that practice, I started being able to meet with anywhere from 3 to 10 people per week and share my story, share what I was doing. And I really just didn't prejudge anyone. It could be an 18-year-old or a 73-year-old. Like, it didn't really matter to me if they were people who I had met or knew about me or cared about me. I was going to ask and share my story and see if this was something that we could partner together in. And what was really amazing about that was that initial runway of preparation gave me the ability to work full-time over the summer and still be able to meet with people and support raise even while I was working full-time to pay off the first year and to set myself up to do better the second year. And in the moment, specifically in that summer, it was pretty not great because I still owed probably about 3,000 or 4,000 for the first year, and I'm support raising for the second year, and internally going, do I even want to do a second year? Which is really potentially incongruent, where I'm support raising for something that I'm going to be doing in the future that internally I'm not sure if it's the right thing for me to do. And that was a real struggle. And yet what was so amazing about it was the challenge of that first year of not being able to support raise very well until the end of it, was it actually then conditioned me to be able to do my quick 10-minute presentation at any point. If someone was like, hey, like, I know you'd sent me a text or we were going to connect, but then we just didn't. And they go, hey, I've got like 10 minutes right now. Can you do it now? I was prepared. Like, I had it down and I had my website, my link. I was ready to go. And so then what ends up happening is from January of 2017 till November of 2017, I was doing that consistently. And I may or may not, I had this thing where I had over 300 people view my support raising page within, I believe it was about 6 months. And so in total, I ended up having close to 40 people support me, either one time or with recurring gifts. And it ended up being a total of a little over $15,000, which I'm so grateful for. And 6,000 of that went just towards the first year of tuition, and then 6,000 towards the second year. And then I was able to live on the rest, as well as the money that I made during the summer, and then continuing to do odd jobs throughout the year helped me get through the rest of that year, which was, man, I remember November of 2017 realizing I had the first payment of my second year already paid for. I already had the second year ready to go, and then I literally got a check that fully funded the third and final payment for the next year. And because of the people that were giving monthly, I had about $500 for living expenses, insurance, gas. Um, I didn't even cut my hair during that year. I bought a shaver so that way I wouldn't have to spend money on something that I didn't think was worthwhile at the time. And man, it was just such a reminder to me of how quickly things could change, and that what was such a struggle, such a challenge the first year actually conditioned me and set me up to have some of the foundation, to have the preparation to really succeed the second year. And a lot of the people that supported me the first year also chose to support me the second year, and I was just so grateful for those people. And yeah, it was incredible also how the time and the skills that I had developed in building my Arbonne business, my network marketing business, those skills had actually translated into me being able to present effectively what I was doing with Thrive. And I was just very grateful to have that preparation before I even did that, because it allowed me to become more effective quickly and to give people the chance to partner with me in what I was doing. And yeah, I really wanted to record this and have this documented, because I know I can so often forget God's faithfulness in my own life, and how so many other people have been faithful to something that they have been called to do or have chosen to do. I even had a couple of people that gave who were not Christians, who didn't have the same faith background, but cared about me and believed in me and the good that I was able to do. And that was just such a gift to have that belief, that it's one thing when people are giving something and they're getting a product or something in return for that. It's a very different thing when to have 25 to 40 different people go, hey, I believe in you, and not only am I going to say that with my words, but I'm going to Venmo or Cash App or PayPal or write a check or give cash. And it's pretty surreal to go, or to be reminded of the value that I bring into that space and the people that God has put in my life to encourage me in this process, in this journey of life. And I have a list that I believe is as exhaustive as it can be in terms of the people that that did support me during those years. And there may be a couple of people that I've missed, but I wanted to write it down to make sure that I just said thank you, because I couldn't have done it without you. And so the first one was Julie Kim, Tom Wisdom, Josh and Wendy Falcone, or Josh Guerrero. He goes by Josh Falcone Guerrero, I think or Guerrero Falcone. And Zach Dutra, he was the one who introduced me to Jeannie and Ruben, which was the yard work, which became the place that I rented. So much of this is not possible without him. Nathan, this guy, oh man, it was one of those moments where I went, man, you just don't know. He was 22 and he ended up being my largest monthly contributor, which was just insane. I didn't expect it. It was just, I was so grateful for the generosity that he chose to show me. And then also my brother Donnie, Derek Maggio, who's a great friend of mine, is a great friend of mine. And man, we just had such good times. He was a part of a accountability group that we were a part of during the summer of 2017, and he was just such an encouraging man during that time specifically. And then Stephen Heckley, Brett Pinkney, Mark Curtin, Mark Hicks, John Tatro, an awesome bassist, and he's got a car that I love, and Daniel Lankford, Nathaniel Smith. Well, he gets two shout outs. Thomas Hill, Dave Odegaard, Linda Earls, Kenny Sadler, Rodney Wegmer, Jen Townsley, Benjamin Keeler, and Corey Lewis. There's also Czech and Elisa Moss, who helped substantially. I actually got to paint one of their fences as well. I had paint on one of my shoes for like years after doing that, but it was such a good time. Such lovely people. And then Spencer DeYoung, you were a part of this as well. Jake Gallo, Michael Covaribas. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but I tried. And then Josh Powers, he was very helpful, as well as Robert Champy, Charlotte Cosley, and Shepherd Church, which was the church I went to in Southern California. They supported me, as well as Tom Hill, and last but certainly not least, Jeannie and Ruben Rodriguez. I'm so grateful for each of these people and other friends and family and people at Bayside and different people that were in Thrive School that just encouraged and supported me, whether with words or with finances or prayers. It really changed my life for the better, and I'm very grateful for this experience and both the challenges and the really good times and the friendships that I've made. I'd be a very different person if I wouldn't have made that choice in 2016 to move up here instead of waiting a year. So thank you guys for listening to this part of my life, and I want to remind you to dream great dreams, because we want to be people who live by faith, are known by love, and are voices of hope, that we can be people who dream great dreams and have the courage to go after them. If you've made it this far in the video or the podcast, I would greatly appreciate it if you'd leave a like or a 5-star rating, depending on what platform you are on. That would mean so much to me. If you are in Thrive, or if you know someone in Thrive, please send this to them. I think it would be super interesting to hear if there are things that they can relate to or are encouraged by hearing my story. And man, yeah, thank you guys for listening. It really, I appreciate you for choosing to invest your time this way. Adios.